that was something he was aware of. So at that point, I looked into it, and I found an Indigenous contract that I could go after, and I won it within the first year that I started the company.
And how large was your company then, and how large is it now?
Well, it was only one person there because it was from my, my dining room table in Barhaven. But we have grown. It's grown up in 2008 to 2010, 2012, and then we've obviously contracted a lot because our hardware business is all but dried up, and we still do some professional services.
And so, how much total money in public contracts has your company received?
Total. So I know that from 2015 until now, it's about 100,000. Or sorry, I just want to get this number correct, so please bear with me. Yeah, from 2015 until now, we've got 91 million in contracts on TBIPs, basically the professional services contracts. Yeah.
And what did you do, what is it exactly that your company does?
So we're a hardware and software company as well as a professional services security company. So basically, we go after government contracts as a general contractor. When it comes to our professional services, we hire our contractors through either subcontracting or potentially a JV with another company.
How many subcontractors does your company operate, given particular contracts on average?
On average, not many. We usually do them ourselves, right? Especially
how many subcontractors do you operate right now?
Again, that's a great question. I don't have that off the top of my tongue, so I'll have to go back to the shop and ask them.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could supply that list as well.
For sure. Yep.
Now, I do want to turn attention to statements that were made by a firm known as Bottler. Their chief executive, named Dutt, told MPs in another committee that she feared Dalian's procurement policies were, quote, another example of monetization and theft using the trauma of marginalized communities, end quote. Why do you think she said that?
Well, I've got my own opinions. There's no question about that, but I'm not sure I can say them here. It's really an unrational statement, to be honest with you. I've been operating for 22 years with the government with, top secret clearances and top secret facility clearances. We are not a bricks and mortars, company. I have an office on the 7th floor at 222 Somerset downtown, and Karadix is down on the 5th. And what I believe is that, Bottler, for what they've brought to this, situation, is that they were hired for, 4 or 5, deliverables. They got through 2 of them, and CVSA canceled their task authorization due to whatever reasons they do. And so we got that cancellation of the task authorization. We passed it on to GC. It floated down to Bottler, and they've been, not necessarily the kindest to Dalian since. But I'm not sure. And then the costing of this is small in retrospect to the ArriveCAN application project.
So Bottler made clear that they were not certain that your firm or other firms, in particular GC Strategies, was aware. They were not aware, they claim, that there were that many subcontractors, including Dalian. When did you become aware that there were subcontractors like Bottler engaged in the same project you were?
Yeah. Again, I'm 2 gates deep in D&D on a pretty much a daily basis, helping them over there, getting the right capabilities in the right hands of the warfighters. So I got right into this as quickly as I could in the fall, and especially when Bottler was making the waves they were, which I think was inappropriate. But no, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, with Bottler, it's unfortunate that they took that tact.
So
I don't know if I answered your question, so I apologize for that. So if I didn't answer your question, ask it again, please.
No, sure. I'll ask it in a different way. The issues that were brought forward by Bottler include layers of subcontracting that hide key details about who is getting paid for what, the cozy ties between private staffing firms, and of course those public servants that ultimately influence that decision. Please comment directly on your knowledge related to the subcontracting and whether or not, in your mind, key details about who was getting paid for what was clear.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I think that subcontracting happens all the time. I mean, we are the prime contractor on a lot of contracts, and then we sub out a lot of our work to other subcontractors, and it happens in every industry. It doesn't matter whether it's
But in the government,
pencils.
the government's a very particular. This is public money. It's very important that we understand that we have the utmost attention to the integrity of our public service. So again, do you believe that there were key details being hidden by way of layers, multiple layers of subcontracting?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that, no.
And so I'll leave my longer
You
question.
got a small one, go. If you have a quick question, go for it.
Well, I'll just preface it. In my next round of questions, I'll speak to you directly on this point as to your knowledge on subcontracting, how many other subcontractors there were, and the numbers associated with those subcontracts, as well as the tasks authorization process as well.
Thank you, Mr. Desjardins. Now opening our second round. Mr. Brock, you have the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, Mr. Yeo. I understand from earlier testimony you became a public servant with DND on September the 19th of 2023, and you last testified before a committee on October 31st, 2023, approximately a month and a half after you secured full-time employment as a public servant. So the question I put to you is, and I've read the transcript of your previous testimony, sir, at no point in time, despite being asked several questions about the nature of your employment, you focused squarely on your directorship and your shares within Dalian, and you said absolutely nothing about the fact that you were a public servant. So it begs the question, why would you withhold that information from Canadians?
Yep. Appreciate the question. So this needs to be analyzed a little bit more. And it was September 19th that I joined the public service. It was 42 days later that the meeting, came to us, and we were invited as Dalian. I was invited to come to you and speak at OGO as Dalian. The understanding is that Dalian holds a top secret facility clearance. And those that know what a top secret facility clearance is knows. And I hold a higher, and did hold a higher than top secret security clearance for Dalian. As well, in my short time of 42 days with the department, I also have a top secret clearance there and a secret clearance. So, by nature of that aspect, and the fact that this had zero to do with D&D, it had zero to do with, what I do during the day as a high assurance specialist for the department. It has zero to do with my employment there, as well as the fact that...
Okay, sir, I'm going to stop you there because my time, sir, I'm going to stop you there. My time is limited. I don't accept your response, and I think most Canadians don't accept that response. After a month and a half, you were divesting your interests in Dalian. You had resigned as a director. You put all of your interest in a blind trust, and you were working on a full-time basis with DND, correct? You had no interest in Dalian, yet you gave the impression that you were still an active participant in this two-person company. So, sir, with respect, I completely disagree with your word salad of an explanation because it just doesn't add up. Now, I'm going to move on to a monetary aspect. You confirmed to my NDP colleague that you received $91 million in federal contracts since Justin Trudeau essentially took over government in 2015. What is your commission rate of that $91 million?
So as a business from Dalian's perspective, and these were TBIP's professional services contracts.
Sir, just the commission rate, please.
Sure, but I need to preface that to make sure that...
No, you don't. I'm asking for a number, sir, or a range. Yeah. What is your commission?
Most of the time, it ranges between 12 and 20%. And in this case, for the ArriveCAN aspect, okay, that 91 million wasn't ArriveCAN, by the way, but for the ArriveCAN aspect, it was 18.2 from what my staff told me.
18.2% for ArriveCAN. And you said you disagree with the AG's report that you only received 4.9 million.
1.6 million a year, yes.
okay? So your 18.2% of 4.9, I can't do the quick math. Was that shared between you and your partner?
Yeah, no, so you have to understand that's
Sir,
gross profit, right?
was it shared between you and your partner? Is it a 50-50 share operation with your other partner?
It's a gross profit, and when it gets to be a gross profit, you have to factor in expenses, employees, wages, commission.
I understand that, sir. Were you sharing
the end of it, sure.
Were you
Yeah.
sharing in the profits 50-50?
No, not 50-50. I'm a majority shareholder in Dalian.
Okay,
Why
so
would I share
what so what
50-50?
was your share of the $4.9 million?
Well, it's not $4.9 million, though. It's revenue. That's $4.9 million in revenue.
Okay, let's not play
different.
games. What did you take home? What was your commission for ArriveCAN? Give me a number, please.
There is no number because
Why not?
Because when you own a business and you have multiple,
You have to
aspects of
declare
that
this as income, sir. So why
Sure, of
would
course,
you not
but
have this number? You're going to provide
but
this committee, sir. You're going to provide this committee within 7 days your actual remuneration or bonuses on the ArriveCAN app. Okay, within 7 days.
If we get asked to do that, sir, we will absolutely provide it. It's not an issue.
And then over and above that 4.9 million, I want to know.
Mr. Brock, you're out of time, but you've asked for some documents. I just want to ensure that Mr. Yeo, is that you received a request from a member to provide some financial documents? Is that something you're prepared to do? Is that something you can do within a reasonable amount of time? I say that because often witnesses will agree to provide information that is requested by the committee. I think you said if you're asked by the committee, you would do so. We can formally do that, but we tried to avoid that. Is that the information Mr. Brock asked you to provide? Is that something you could do?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm willing to support the committee on anything and everything that you guys need to be able to get to where you need to go. So if there's a request for what kind of remuneration would have come out of 4.9 million in ArriveCAN, then we will provide that.
Okay, sure. I appreciate that. I also, Mr. Brock mentioned 7 days. I'm a little more generous. You have a couple weeks to get that before you begin to get some calls from my assistants on this committee. But thank you. I appreciate the clarity on that.
I can assure you we'll get back.
I believe you will. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Brock, that is your time. Moving now to Ms. Yip. You have the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Yeo. Could I also ask that when you send in the documents for that you also include your commission on a contract between D&D and Dalian in 2013?
D&D and Dalian in 2013. Okay. Could I ask for a few more details about that? That's somewhat vague. Yeah. I'm not sure which contract you're talking about back then, 10 years ago.
TRN Technologies.
TRM Technologies. Okay. Oh, you must be talking about my consulting.
Yes.
Is that what you're asking for?
Yes.
Okay.
Just let me. I'll just pause the clock. Is that clear, Mr. Yao?
Well, I think it's clear. I think she's asking for my consulting contract from TRM back in 2013. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That is it. Thank you.
Okay.
Very good.
Yep.
Clock rolling again. Thanks, Ms. Yip.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Was Dalian on your resume when you applied to D&D?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, just from that perspective, I've been a consultant at D&D for 22 years, and it's been through Dalian, and they're very well aware that I contract through Dalian. Yeah.
Okay. When you became a full-time employee, actually, you know what? Let's go back and look at it step by step through the hiring process and the ethics and conflict forms that you signed. Can you tell us what you signed?
So Through the public service, there's a natural progress, and that was followed to the letter as far as the department is concerned. I did receive a letter of offer on the 19th. Sorry, I received the letter of offer on the 5th of September, and then we went back and forth.